Let me know when we're on. Morning, everyone. Before approving the agenda, I would like to note that we are conducting this meeting in person in accordance with all provincial regulations by ensuring that council and administration remain physically distanced from each other at our workstations. Members of the public can attend the meeting should they wish, provided they remain masked. And so with that, I will call the meeting to order and look to the clerk to see if there's any changes to the agenda. Seeing none, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. We'll now turn to item D, approval of the minutes of October 5th, 2021. Any errors or omissions that anyone noted? Seeing none, I'll move that we adopt the minutes of October 5th, 2021 as presented. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And now we will turn to the main show today. Ms. Bartolome, you have a report from administration about the HBO Main Street Closure. The floor is all yours.
And I am here on behalf of the Arts and Events Department, and as part of what we do in the Arts and Events Department is event and film permitting. So this is a film permit that I'm working on right now. Its impact is pretty great, so I'm here to talk about it and to let you know what's happening on your streets right now. I'm just going to give you a little bit of background. Alberta has become a very attractive place for the film industry to be because of the diversity of its landscape. You can get almost to any kind of landscape by driving from the airport. You can get to the mountains, the lakes, the prairies, the badlands, historical villages, and urban centers. So it makes it really attractive for them to come here because every kind of landscape they're looking for is here. The other part of it is that Alberta now has a film and television tax credit, which offers 22% or 30% credit on eligible production and labor costs. So that's making Alberta a great place to come right now. It's predicted that this incentive will result in an increase in filming in the province over the next 5 years. The Last of Us is an HBO post-apocalyptic series with episodes being filmed in several Alberta municipalities. It's been in Calgary and Edmonton, High River, Grand Prairie here, and they're going to be filming in Alberta until spring of 2022. It's being called the largest television production in Canadian history. They're hoping that this will be the next Game of Thrones. So they're sinking a lot of money into it because they're hoping that's the kind of attention it will get. HBO will be filming episode 7 of a 10-episode series in Canmore beginning on November the 15th. It's their Christmas episode, just so you know. Yes. And Canmore is doubling for Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So this is the plan. There are four film locations. One is Main Street and 7th Avenue. The closure will be similar to that of the summer closure, so people are accustomed to that. They won't be accustomed to what they're going to see when they get there, but they'll be accustomed to the closure. The parking lot beside the Union Hall, the Engine Bridge, from 14th Street between 7th Avenue and 8th Avenue. So you'll see some changes starting even today. There's a tent that went up in the vacant lot beside the credit union, where they're going to start doing some painting and building of facades that are going to go on downtown buildings. So they're starting that construction. They will be putting facades on buildings starting on November 8th. They'll be putting a blockade or a stockade, whatever, I don't know which one it is, at the end of Main Street, but they're still going to be accessible to traffic in and out. So they're going to build the stockade on either side and then close it in as of the 15th. Main Street will be closed beginning the 15th and will reopen on the 21st. The parking lot beside the Union Hall Right now, the 12 stalls right beside the Union Hall are closed. They'll be building stables there. As of November the 8th, the 5 rows of parking beside the Union Hall will be closed because they're going to be putting in a pasture. The engine bridge, they'll be shooting at the engine bridge on November the 15th, the Monday. So the engine bridge isn't going to have a facade or anything on it that might, it's old enough apparently, or it's, you know, it's got the look they're looking for. They're probably going to put down snow and that kind of thing, but other than that, it'll look pretty much the same. They are going to have to reverse the direction of the river, but they'll only do that in the studio, not for real. Yeah. So don't worry. I know, I was pretty surprised to hear that myself. But 14th Street between 7th and 8th Avenue will be closed. There's a house there that they're going to be shooting at. That's where the Heroes House will be. So they're going to be shooting there. They'll be shooting on the 19th. The closure will start on the 15th, but it'll be open to local traffic only. And we'll have vehicles parking on 14th Street, I guess east and west of 14th on 7th Ave. So you'll see some of that. This is the stockade at the end of Main Street. So this is what we're going to be looking at. This is on 8th and 8th. It's about 100 feet long. The 11 people, the main people in the movie will be arriving there on horseback. They'll be coming through this gate, followed by a dog. And yeah, the sides of this will go up on the 8th, and the rest of it will go up by the 15th. So Main Street will close hard on the 15th. This is what the businesses at the end of Main Street will look like. We will be bringing in snow. We're having it made at the Nordic Center. They may have to use some fake snow, but I do have the MSDS sheets for that, and it's all biodegradable and environmentally friendly. This is what it looks like at night. So, the lot beside the credit union will become a construction site. The tent will come down before too long. This is all part of the set. The main actors here are building a further stockade or blockade or that sort of thing in this lot. So that will start that week of the 15th. And as I said, it's Christmas in Canmore or Jackson Hole. So this will be at the corner of 7th and 8th, right by Rusticana. This is what the parking lot at the Union Hall look like. The Union Hall's on the far right there. You can just see the white roof. The building of the stables is starting this week. The rest of the parking lot will take shape over from beginning the 8th, finishing up on the 15th, with shooting happening on the 16th. They're hoping that everything will be wrapped by the 26th, so everything will be back to normal on the 26th in all locations. This is a 14th Street closure. So like I said, local traffic only. Those are the houses they're going to be using, 813, 822, and 830 14th Street. So permitting, what's required. So of course we need the support of the BIA. The BIA has given us support in principle, contingent on the successful negotiations with downtown businesses. The agreements with downtown businesses are in progress right now. We've got about 70% of the businesses that have signed or have agreed to sign, and with probably 5% more coming by the end of today. There's a handful of businesses that we've either been unable to reach or have not gotten back to HBO, and there's probably 3 or 4 that negotiations are ongoing with. The collaboration and involvement, the permitting is also required, the collaboration and involvement of several town departments, including planning, engineering, streets and roads, solid waste services, communications, ACDEV, finance, and fire rescue. We've needed building permits for all of the facades that are going to be on Main Street, for the stockade wall, for the greenhouses, for the stables, for the tents. So that's all in place. We have road closures that have been approved, and we're working on traffic accommodation plans. There's Towards Zero Waste plan, emergency response plans, including health, safety, and COVID-19 protocols, So solid communications plan and business licensings happened. The positive impact. Canmore hotel stays. HBO is bringing 180 people as part of their prep and wrap team for 4 weeks. They're here now. And a shoot crew with an additional 240 people for 7 days. For a 4-day shoot in Edmonton, HBO spent $372,000 in Edmonton. So that'll give you a sense of what's going to be happening with hotels here. Temporary employment. There's 300 extras required for the shoot. They've been advertising over the course of the last 10 days or so. The thought and intent is that those people will come from Canmore. Downtown businesses will receive financial remuneration for local shoots and business impacts associated with filming. So that every business that will be impacted is offered a daily rate plus a loss of business rate, so a percentage of sales. This film will contribute to Canmore's economic recovery. And film-induced tourism potential is there. So if it's like the Game of Thrones or any other thing, people want to see where these things are filmed, even if our river is going backwards. And there's potential for future productions to take place in Canmore. So this is almost like a test for us, like for downtown businesses, for us as a community. How is this going for us? Is this something that works? Is this something we want to look into moving forward, or something we want to promote? Are we open for business? So we have to define those things, and this is a good opportunity for us to test that and use this as a case study to see how we can move forward with film in Canmore. Disruptions. Store and business access may be restricted. Backdoor entrance only might be a thing. Many of our downtown stores have backdoor entrances. There could be no access for short periods of time while filming, and there will be no walk-by traffic. So some businesses, of course, rely on walk-by traffic. There won't be a lot of that during filming. When a person comes up to the edge of the shoot, they will be asked what business they want to go to, and they will be escorted there by a production assistant. So they'll have several production assistants on site to get people to where they need to go. And the hope is that, for the most part, the community's access to businesses and stores won't be disrupted. There'll be reduced parking. There's possible traffic congestion with the closure of Main Street, no more than we saw over the summer, and likely less because it is November. Reduced parking, there's a number of full-day parking spots over at the Union Hall that will no longer be available from the 8th till probably the 22nd, I would say. There's also, which I should note is over the Remembrance Day weekend. There will also be no parking along 8th Avenue on both sides of the street between 10th Street and 7th. And there'll be no parking on 10th Street, just on the south side. Okay, from the other side of Snowy Owl to Community. The businesses on the north side of 10th Street will have parking all along that side. So, but just the parking right on that one side. They're bringing in about 1,000 feet of production vehicles. So we've kind of closed off 1,000 feet in those areas that I've just mentioned. The engine bridge closure could result in waits of up to 10 minutes during filming, but only 10 minutes. And I was told it was probably closer to 5, but I thought, I'm putting 10. So they'll just have to wait till they're done the shoot. They'll let people go through, and then they'll go back to their shoot. And it's only for 1 day, and that's on Monday the 15th. Return on investment. As per our community event policy, town services and equipment are billed at 150% to the film industry. This policy was put in place to make sure it was fair and equitable for all. So events that are not-for-profit and don't charge to have people enter the event pay 25%. The people that are charging, like the Folk Fest, are 50%, and it goes up the scale like that. When we get to film, they're helping us subsidize the not-for-profits, which is awesome. They're also helping to pay for some of the infrastructure that could have a shorter lifespan because of what they may be doing downtown. High River was paid $100,000 for services rendered. This production will give us an insight into the complexity of film permitting at this level and provide the baseline necessary for future requests. Like I said, this is the biggest series in Canadian history. So it's amazing, all of the things that are in place. So we're learning sometimes as we go. We have the systems in place to help us be successful. However, every time I turn around, it's like, what, you're bringing animals? Okay, well, that puts another layer on it. You're doing this? Okay. So this will have a very good baseline, and this will challenge our policies and procedures and see what we may need to change moving forward so that we can welcome film to our community if that's what we want to do. So I've kept this presentation short, just giving you a high level because I expect there's going to be lots of questions, which I'm totally prepared to answer. So, do you have any?
Thank you very much, Ms. Bartolome, for that presentation. And wow, it's quite the production. You'll be able to go into the film industry after this, too.
That's right. Yeah.
Looking to council, are there any questions? Councillor Faubert.
Thank you, Ms. Bartolome, for that presentation. I'm wondering about the circus. You mentioned the vehicles along 10th Street, but are there other places where staging will occur?
Yeah, the circus is where they stage all of their vehicles, all of their props, all of that kind of thing. It's called the circus, and the circus will be beside the Ford dealership.
Thank you. Councillor Graham.
Thank you for that presentation. You mentioned the parking considerations for the weekend, Remembrance Day long weekend. Do we know what capacity we normally have on that weekend and how much this is going to impact it?
From what I understand, and probably Whitney can help, Ms. Mazurs can help me out with that, I think we have about 2,000 parking spots in downtown Canmore. Over that weekend, we will only be reducing parking by approximately 220 stalls. So I would say we still have a lot of capacity. I don't know over a long weekend what kind of parking we will require. However, we have secured the lot at the other side of Home Hardware like we did over the summer to be sure that we had extra parking. There's 110 spots there. So the difference is just over 100 stalls.
Ms. Bartolome, I was wondering about notice to residents. So what is being done, and to visitors, because I imagine some people will want to be coming and sitting on Main Street and having a coffee if the weather was nice enough, or do a little browsing.
Mm-hmm. HBO is delivering relevant neighbor letters to the affected neighbors. They also are speaking to everyone on Main Street and also ancillary, like the streets butting up against Main Street, I suppose. This will act as our first public communication, and then we've got a communication plan that we'll be rolling out over the course of the next couple of weeks.
To the community at large? To
the community at large. We'll also work with Tourism Canmore to let them know what's going on. They're aware that this is happening, so we'll just make sure they have the information they need to get the information out.
Great. Councillor Faubert.
I understand there is accessible parking at the Union Hall that wouldn't be available during the shoot. Is there plans to create some temporary parking, maybe around the corner, to replace that?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that question. There is one accessible space that will be disrupted during that. So with the other spaces that will also be disrupted, there is one in front of the post office, which will be moved up the street. There's one in front of the doctor's office on 8th Avenue. We'll be creating more handicap parking stalls or accessible parking at Arts Place in the first row of parking there. Otherwise, they're either going to be moved up the street if possible or captured there.
Councillor Ma.
You mentioned there's like 70 to 80% of the businesses on Main Street have already signed contracts.
70% have reached agreement.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how's that process been for the businesses? Have you had some visibility? Has it been an easy thing, or has there been a lot of back and forth negotiation? I'm just curious because I met one person who owned the business on the corner, and they're like in heavy negotiations. So I just understand, is that indicative of everybody, or no?
No. So I would say that there has probably been 5 businesses that have been negotiating on a more back and forth level than other businesses have. Many were happy with the remuneration they were offered from the start, which was either $1,500 a day or $1,000 a day, depending on the impact, and didn't feel that their businesses would be impacted in any other way, like there would be no loss of business, they signed right away, and their contracts are in. There's others that are considering what their loss of business could be, based on the fact that in some cases, a business has gone up year over year rather than down. So some businesses were realizing a 25% increase in business, some 15. So all of that had to be figured in rather than it just being an average over the last 3 years. So there has been some back and forth, and there is some people that have been reluctant to sign until they come to a mutual agreement. But that's been 3 people,
Okay.
3 businesses so far.
And the other question, like, I live under a rock, so I don't really know a lot about Last of Us. Is this its first season, sort of thing?
It is its first season.
Okay.
It's based on a very popular video game, apparently. I don't play video games, nor have I watched the Game of Thrones. So, but it is based on a really popular video game. They're not zombies that are coming, but they're bad guys, and I don't know really
Okay.
a lot about it. They're bringing in a couple of people that starred in the Game of Thrones that they think will be a huge draw.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious, is it the sort of thing where, because it's first season, are there going to be a lot of video game groupies that are coming to Canmore to like try and see what's going on? And do we have to factor that extra piece in, or?
It could be.
I have no idea. Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, it absolutely could be. When they find out there's filming here, I imagine we will get people coming to see what's going on with filming.
Okay.
I mean, people in Calgary probably couldn't get as close to the filming as they'd like to. It was on the 4th Street flyover, and it was near Stampede Park. So probably people didn't get as close a look as they wanted to. So here they can get closer to the action. So I would expect that we'd get people out for it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mr. Bartolome, do you expect that we'll get 100% business sign-off?
I expect that we have to get 100% business sign-off because I can't imagine that a store that didn't sign off will be okay with a facade attached to the front of their store.
Yeah.
So I would certainly think that we would have to get to a place where there's a mutually beneficial agreement between HBO and a store.
Great. Thank you. Councillor Faubert.
You mentioned this may be a case study or a test for the future. Would we be able to expect a report back from you on, and what are your thoughts on the different metrics or stakeholders that might be part of that process?
I would expect that at the end of every event, well, I do know that at the end of each event, we do a debrief. We find out what worked, what didn't work, or areas of, challenge, how our processes served us or didn't serve us, what needed to be changed moving forward. If council would like administration to bring that back, that's certainly within your purview to do that. We can. We haven't in the past, but this is certainly a different animal, so that would be up to you.
Would it possibly lead to a policy that would come back to us?
Well, it's possible. I mean, we would have to look at our event and film policy. Right now, we have a community event policy. Film's included in that. However, in talking to other communities, Fort Macleod in particular, they've said that they had to separate a film policy out from that because it's so much more complex than some of our event policies. So when we get to the end of this and we debrief, it could well be that we need to, at the very least, develop new procedures, but may have to come back with a policy. At this time, I can't really tell you for sure.
I think it would be very good for council to get to the other end of this story and to find out what the impact was on the community, but also feedback from residents that we will undoubtedly get and from businesses, and to see if it was an overall net positive or not, and then any policy that flows from that, of course, would come back to us. Yeah.
I think it's likely, well, it's definitely a net positive for our Hotel and Lodging Association, who were one of the hardest hit industries throughout the pandemic. So
Yeah.
I do know that that's something
Well,
that's.
from your presentation, it seems to me a net positive for lodging, net positive for the town's costs, net positive for the businesses that are getting compensated, and some of them may still even be able to do, like you say, through the back door or have people escorted to their businesses. obviously, there's going to be an impact on the residents and movement, and we'll see what that is like. But it looks like we've already prepared ourselves a little bit by having downtown street closures in the past. So it'll be interesting to see. And I'm going to have to check out this episode of a post-apocalyptic
I had to
Christmas
practice that
episode.
for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very good. Councillor McCallum.
Thank you, Mayor Krauser. Thank you, Ms. Bartolome, for your presentation. This is quite exciting. Could you tell me, we've talked about the hotel impact, but is the film company bringing in their own catering, or will they be using local restaurants or catering here in Canmore?
They are bringing in their own catering. It's likely coming from
Yeah.
Calgary. And that was the case in Fort McLeod, and, you know, that's certainly the case overall. They had, in Fort McLeod, they did tell me that the restaurants saw a huge boon during the filming, though, because people were dropping by for coffees or to get snacks. Like, they didn't always want to eat when meals were available to them. The places that realized some of the most business during the filming in Fort McLeod, where they filmed a portion of 2 episodes, was hardware stores, building centers, restaurants, coffee shops, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Looking to council to see if there's any further questions. Councillor Hillstad.
Thank you for your presentation. So does HBO have a backup plan if they don't get 100% of businesses to agree?
I think that it's probably money is their backup plan.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Graham.
Yesterday, there was a report released that a living wage in Canmore was somewhere between the $23 and $37 an hour. I wonder what sort of wages HBO will be paying local people to work the set.
I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that.
Last call for questions. Councillor Mara.
Thank you. Thank you for your report, Ms. Bartolome. I can't say your last name.
It's okay.
Bartolome.
Bartolome.
Sorry.
It's Italian,
Didn't come to me.
Bartolome.
I just want to say thank you. I know, being on the BIA, how much work you've put into this.
Oh, thank you.
And I know that you did a lot of walking the streets with the producers, and did a lot of, search in the community, talking to people and the business owners. So just want to say thank you for that, and look forward to hearing how it turns out.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Mira.
Any other questions? All right, well, seeing none, this is an informational piece, as this is an operational issue carrying out the policies of the town. So the council does not have a decision to make here, but we are certainly interested stakeholders, and look forward to seeing how it all pans out, and how we look on the television screen. So thank you, Ms. Bartolome, for your presentation, for your time today, and echoing Councillor Mara's comments, and for all your work in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, that's the end of our agenda. So I will move adjournment. All those in favor? Carried unanimously.